So I think the live session has already started, but I'll just check the channels, everything, and then come back, do the intro, and we start from there. 1 second.
Okay.
Yeah, Jacob, I think we are ready to start.
Yeah, perfect.
So, first of all, thank you so much for coming and joining us here today. I would like to welcome you and everyone else on this very special episode of the podcast that I have been doing. I'm Vakas Khan Pitafi and host for this session. For those who actually are not knowing me, I'm CEO of Dev Badge with about, 20 plus years of experience in software and building teams, building software teams. So today we are here with Jacob. Jacob Sapochnick is a renowned USA immigration attorney with extensive experience in helping professionals and actually businesses navigate the complex landscape of US immigration. Uh, on a personal note, I had the pleasure of working with Jacob, hiring Jacob actually last year to assist with my own US immigration process. We did NIW EB2. And through his expertise, my application was prepared very well and it was approved in possibly a record time of 3 to 4 working days, which was
Yeah.
truly
So far,
remarkable.
the
Sorry?
fastest. I
Yeah,
said
it
so
was.
far the fastest.
So, yeah, thank you so much for coming in and welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Lucas. And welcome to the US. I know we're doing this show. You're in Dallas right now, right?
Yes, thank you so much. Yes,
Yeah. This is the best proof that it's possible, right?
of course, of course.
Making this from
I would like that you give a brief introduction about you and your services, your company, and then we talk from there.
absolutely. So once again, I appreciate the opportunity to share the experience, but also I think I've been doing this. It's 20 years now, 2024 that I've been doing immigration from our law firm, and I'm based in San Diego, California, but we have offices in Connecticut on the East Coast, and we help clients in all 50 states. And again, most people don't realize that immigration is federal. So immigration attorneys licensed in one state can do it in all 50 states. And of course, we can also help clients before US embassies and consulates worldwide. But my personal journey is also of an immigrant because, I came to US, went to law school here. I had a student visa. Then I went through the work visa process, H-1B. Then I went through the EB-2 process as sponsored by a company. So we'll talk about it in a minute, but the immigration categories are for employment are broken down into two parts. You can do a self-petition, or majority of people like myself, we get sponsored by employers. And I was lucky enough to find a law firm back then that did the EB2 for me because I had a master degree. But back then, 2000, when they did it, it was 2000. It was very fast. Even EB3 was very fast. The whole thing took 6 months from A to Z. So I did that, and then a couple of years later, I started my own firm. And our biggest visas in the beginning, 2004, we did H-1B visas. I was working with a lot of companies. We did only H-1Bs, and H-1B is the most common work visa. And then, of course, we worked with a lot of companies in Silicon Valley. Even though I was based in San Diego, I had a lot of clients in Silicon Valley because we specialize in H-1B, EB3 for engineers. We did a lot of work with consulting companies that were bringing engineers and working in other companies. That was the height of the tech boom at the time. And then after the crash of the industry and during the recession, we expanded to other industries. So we started doing a lot of more self-petitions, working with entrepreneurs. We did a lot of E2 visas for business owners from all over the world. And I would say about 12 years ago, we started focusing on self petitions, EB2 national interest waiver, and EB1A for exceptional ability, top level talent. Um, and that's what we do to this day. We specialize in that. We do a lot of videos on YouTube and Instagram and
That's
educate
amazing.
clients from all over
That's
the world.
amazing, Jacob. So this is 2024 now. Like I mean,
Yeah.
things keep on changing, and this is an election year as well. So we are on the verge of actually some more changes. This is what is being predicted, right? So can you give us a brief overview of current U.S. immigration landscape, particularly for professionals from countries like Pakistan? I mean, what are we looking at, and what are the options?
So, the what we see is, if you look back at the recent history of U.S. immigration. So you go back to the administration of Trump, when Trump was in power, even before COVID. Um, there was a big negativity around immigration. So we had travel bans from a lot of Muslim countries. We had um, lack of certain visas, like H-1B visas, to be able to expedite certain things. Self petitions were not in so much high demand. And the biggest thing that happened during that administration is that they stopped EB5 visas. They put a hold on them, the $1 million visas for high end investors. And so the feeling was that the United States is not welcoming immigrants around that time. Then, when the new administration came, Biden's administration, we've seen an interesting shift. We've seen, on one hand, the Biden administration was deporting some illegal immigrants from inside the US, and they were putting some restrictions on the border as well. But at the same time, they expanded immigration for professionals, for high level individuals. For example, NIW was expanded under Biden. 2022, they opened up the board, this petition for graduates of universities that are coming from STEM, like math, science. They encouraged that. They made it easier for young entrepreneurs to apply for the self petitions. And to this day, the approval rate of these self petitions is over 85%, because the administration is saying, well, we want to encourage immigrants to come. Recently, they expanded the entrepreneur parole rule, which is basically allowing startups that funded with $250,000 or more to be able to get temporary parole for three of their founders up to 5 years. So this is something that Biden's administration is doing, because they want to encourage founders to come here. And specifically from Pakistan, we have a lot of talent in the AI field. And the AI industry also has a specific program under the Biden administration to be able to get self petitions. So that's why we're seeing a lot of Pakistani professionals are coming here right now, because they're getting approved. The only problem is that if you apply for the visa from the embassy, if you have to wait for your interview, Islamabad is very slow right now. And so there's been a lot of efforts by the State Department to try to speed it up. Um, in July of 2024, they've assigned additional 20% increase in officers to come to Islamabad, specifically to tackle family immigration, the family green cards. But also, these officers are going to be helping um, employment-based green cards to get interviews faster. So I believe that by October, November, even December of 2024, people from Islamabad will see an increase in speed of processing. But just like yourself and many others, if you have a visa to come to the United States, I always tell people, let's finish everything inside America, because it's much faster here.
That's amazing. Yeah, I mean, I think I have gone through the same process with you. So,
Right.
one question which actually comes before we start any other conversation is that what visa categories are available? I mean, many professionals from Pakistan are considering coming to USA, but what's the difference between, say, NIW, EB2, L1, O1, and any other available visas that can allow people to come in? I understand, like, this is a three-step process. You need to have a visa to come to USA. It can be tourist visa, B1, B2, or it can be a work visa. And then once you come in over here, then you actually have to go through the process of green card. And then after you have completed certain like time on that, then you can go for citizenship. Is it right?
Right.
Like, assertion
Yeah.
wrong?
So
Like, So being an
Yeah,
expert.
let me kind of break it down in a simple way. So the way I look at it, and I explain it to clients, is that let's look at the immigration process like you're looking at two parallel roads, and you basically almost have like two cars that you own, and they're driving parallel. So the one road is the non-immigrant visa. So for example, tourist visa, which is some people can get it. For example, if you're from Pakistan right now and you have a good job, maybe you're in a good industry, maybe you have a track record, kind of like you had, Wakas. This kind of person, when you go to the embassy, they don't see you as a threat. They say, you know what? I'm not going to give Wakas a B2 visa. I know he's going to come back to Pakistan after he gets. He's not going to stay illegally in the US, right? And so people like that have a good job, that either are working or they have their own company, they will have a good chance to get a tourist visa, right? Okay, that's number one. Now, let's say you can't get a tourist visa for whatever reason, but you have a job offer. The next non-immigrant path is a work visa, H-1B, O-1 visa if you have a skill, L visa if you have a company in Pakistan and you want to move yourself or an employee to the US, E2 visa if you want to be an investor and open a small business. All these are non-immigrant visas which you can get faster. And when I say faster, I'm talking about 6 months to a year, right? Now, the second path where the car is going, we have the immigrant visa way, where you want to get a green card, which is a permanent residency. And there we have the EB3, which is a sponsor by an employer, EB2, sponsored by an employer if you have a master degree or more, or if you have a self petition. Let's say you're a high skilled engineer or an entrepreneur and you worked in an industry in Pakistan over 5 years, like AI or data analysis or biotech or anything like that, you can apply for a self petition because you have a lot of skills and you can bring value to the US. But that's going to take some time. That can take 2 years. EB3 can take 3 to 4 years. EB1, the top of the top, if you're exceptional, let's say you're a CEO, maybe you're an author, maybe you did something exceptional, that you can get a green card in less than 15 months. But that's still going to take some time, right? So some people would say, let's come on an non-immigrant visa first, and then we're going to do the green card parallel. You know what I mean? So those two things are not replacing each other; they are parallel:
And
immigrant and non-immigrant.
yeah, that makes perfect sense. So let's talk a little bit more about NIW EB2 now, because I think that's the path I took, and many of the people who are around me, they actually seek my guidance. So I would like you to actually explain the process. I mean, what are the primary qualifications for people who are looking at EB2 NIW, and what makes an applicant actually stand out in the eyes of US immigration? So
So let me give like a 1 minute of explanation. So the NIW EB2 self-petition is not a new thing, right? It's been existing for many years in immigration law. What is new is that originally only scientists could do the self-petition. So if you're looking about 15 years ago or more, we only had scientists, researchers that were able to do this because the criteria were kind of strict in a sense. You have to show publications, you have to show a lot of research, you have to show a lot of impact. Now, in 2017, there was a new case law, the matter of Danasar, and that case law changed everything. Because what that case law said, it says, and Mr. Danasar sued the government. He said, listen, it's not fair that I am an engineer and I am contributing to the United States economy and I'm doing all these amazing things and I can't seem to qualify under these standards, which are very rigid. So the Danasar case changed the requirement. It says, as long as you can show that your endeavor, whatever you're planning to do, is going to impact the United States. Number two, as long as you as an individual can show that you're likely to be able to achieve that because of your background. And number three, on a balance, if the immigration feels that you meet those requirements, they can waive the requirement of a labor certification, which means you don't need to be sponsored by anyone and you can proceed with the self petition. These three elements made it much easier for entrepreneurs, professionals, artists to now start applying for this. And so it's fairly new in that respect. Since 2017, only 2018, you've seen an influx of people applying. So the bottom line is that you need to have at least a master degree or additional 2 years experience. Or if you don't have a master's, you can have a bachelor degree and 5 years of progressive experience in any industry. So let's take, for example, an engineer, which we have a lot of them applying from Pakistan right now. You're an engineer, you have either a master's or a bachelor's, you have at least 5 years experience. You can show that you are, let's say you are a data scientist. So you've done some work, you've been promoted in your industry. Maybe you were part of a group and you guys developed some kind of a product, or um, you were very important in the development of a particular tool within your team. Maybe you were mentioned in some articles. Maybe you were part of some conferences and you spoke. So those are the things we try to find in those elements. What have you done? Something is your field interesting? Did you have some experience, progressive 5 years? And then what we do is say, you know what, you have, let's say, 70% of this. Now we need to get some more before I can file. So we recommend people, let's get you one article in the media about you. Let's have you join an association in your space. Why don't you join on a panel? There are thousands of panels online. You can become a judge or a participant. And those additional things we suggest our clients, we put together into this package with their letters of reference from previous employers, from whatever. And then all this goes to the government. And you can see that by explaining it like that, more people can qualify. Now, of course, if you just graduated from university, you have 1 year experience, you've done nothing in your career, you're not going to qualify. But we can tell you, okay, you know what? You graduated engineering, you're getting into AI field. Here's what I want you to do in the next 3, 4 years. So there are many people who I work with where we train them what they can do to eventually qualify. But I can tell you, Wakas, right now, so many professionals who don't even realize that they have it and they can do it with what they already have because they've been working. Like I just talked to somebody yesterday, give you an example, 10 years, software engineer. He's been working he's working in the field of chip manufacturing, and his team, they're developing a process to make sure that the chips inside computers are able to cool off faster than they are now. So he didn't invent it, but he was a key engineer in that team, right? So I told him, listen, you have 10 years experience, you're working on something quite interesting. I can elevate that and build a story around it. And he said, well, I don't think I'm that unique. I said, well, let me look at your conferences. And I saw he went to a conference in Vegas where he was a speaker, and the top speaker in the conference was Elon Musk. It was 5 years ago. And I'm like, listen, I can link Elon Musk's notoriety in the space of, in this technology space, you being in the same conference, not even on the same panel with him. And that's going to be good enough for us to start building a story. And now he's almost ready to file his case, and he has a lot of good things. You know what I mean? So a lot of
Yeah.
professionals are
That's
coming
pretty
in.
amazing. I just want to come to the next part of this conversation, which is more on
Yeah.
the technical advice part of it. Okay. I mean, my question effectively is about that. How can a Pakistani professional strategize so that he can strengthen the application? But I would suggest that we discuss it in a more practical way. You did my case, and it was, as you said, done in a record time. So what is it? And I did not have to do anything beyond actually writing or getting a business case done. So everything else was there. So what were the key highlights we can discuss that were instrumental for getting the case approved in this fashion, right? So
Yeah. So, because I would say, and again, I would like to differentiate you from a lot of other people because your profile, and let me just kind of explain in general. So, somebody like you is somebody who is, first of all, you have experience, but also you're an industry leader in your space. Okay. So people like you can be in any industry. So, for example, we have architects who are also part of associations in their industry. They're also influential in helping others become better in what they do, kind of like what you do in your industry.
yeah.
But let's take example, and the good thing about you is that you had all these events that you went, industry. You organized all that for me in a
By the
piece
way,
of
my
paper.
purpose behind asking this question is because many of the followers that we have around us, they relate to you, as an example, right? So they
Of
can
course.
see, what this guy has done. These are the 10 things
Yeah,
he
yeah.
has done. And
Uh,
then we can just follow the footsteps. That's the
Perfect.
reason I'm asking you this question.
Excellent. So What you've done is the following. I would suggest people create like a dummy a CV. So it's not a regular resume. It's a resume that in bullet points highlights everything they've done in their career, in the sense what kind of events they attended, what kind of things they've done in their school, what kind of projects they worked on in their industry, because those are things you don't put in a resume normally. But for me, I would like to see it. So, for example, let's say you worked for company X. In company X, I worked on the development of the following product. Then we launched three different products. Then we received the award from the Ministry of Education. That you don't put on the CV normally, but I need that for me. So everything that you did in your career, highlight in bullet point, like one lines. And if you prepare that, any applicant that prepare that for me, it gives me an idea of what I can do for them quicker to get their case prepared. The second thing is they have to make a list of at least 10 people that can potentially write letters of reference about them. They don't talk to them yet, but they give them to us so we can analyze. Okay, this guy, he was a professor in the university. This guy, he's a big researcher in AI. And they say,
Yeah,
great. Out of these 10, I need you to contact the following five. And then we help them draft the letters. You know what I mean?
I got
Anybody
it.
who comes to me like that with these
Yeah,
two documents will speed up the process of preparing their case by a lot faster.
of course. Okay, so now let's move a little bit forward, and let's talk about if somebody is able to secure a visa, okay, I mean, or an approval. So what should they be aware of for maintaining their status in the US? How do they go about it?
So the question is, once they get their green card or a work visa?
A work visa, let's talk about that, and then also talk about green card, okay, like approval
Okay,
of green card. These are two different separate scenarios. So
correct.
let's talk
I'll tell
about
you
each.
why. So, for example, let's say you get an E2 visa, which is an investor visa, or a work visa, O1. If you get this visa, you can go back forth to Pakistan. You don't have to live here the whole time. They
Yep.
don't care. As long as you are performing the duties of your visa, whatever you said, it's fine. You can go back and forth as needed. Nobody cares if you spend 6 months in Pakistan or here on a work visa. They don't care. However, if you get a green card eventually, the permanent residency from the NIW or any other way, you cannot be outside of the US for more than a year. If you are, you might lose it. So there are different ways where people can protect it. You can apply for a special permit to protect your green card if you want to spend more time back home in Pakistan, for example.
Got it. Got it.
Right?
Okay.
So for
So,
the green card, there
yeah,
is a rule: no more than 1 year. For the visa, it doesn't matter. You can go as much as you want
no more than 1 year. In how much period are we
in
talking
a,
about?
in a, in a fiscal year.
In a fiscal year. Okay.
Right.
So,
So, for
no.
example, don't be out for more than 6 months if you want
Okay.
to keep your green card in a one fiscal year.
Okay. Okay. So, now considering the current trends, global trends, do you foresee any changes in US immigration policies that could
Yeah.
impact professionals from Pakistan?
Okay. So it's a very good question because right now it's very seem to be smooth. The application approval is high. We know the process. The big question is what's going to happen after November. Okay. So let's look at the two scenarios. Let's say Trump is going to win. If Trump is going to win, he's not going to become president until January 20th. Okay.
Yeah.
And once he becomes president, he can do a few things. First of all, he can launch executive orders, just like Biden did with NIW. In 2022, Biden issued three executive orders. One, expanding NIW for students who graduate from STEM. Trump can cancel it in 1 day. Number two, he opened an executive order allowing NIW to be expanded for entrepreneurship AI initiative. He can cancel that too in 1 day. Number three, he opened the door for entrepreneur parole rule, a new initiative for startups. Trump can cancel all these in 1 day because these are not laws; these are orders, right? Now, I'm not saying he's going to do it, but I think he will do something to shock the system, right? He might say, I don't want anybody who's coming from Pakistan, give 5 countries, whatever. He can do that, right? So the point is that we don't know what he's going to do, but it's not looking good for immigration. So the bottom line is that anybody who feels they're qualified, they should file now because once you file, he cannot take it away. He can stop new people, but he cannot stop what's already in, right?
Understood.
So I tell people, if you qualify, not just for Pakistanis, anybody, if you
Anybody, yeah.
qualify
I
for
think
any
that's
benefit,
very important that anybody who is contemplating a move like this, they should immediately move. This
they
is
should
what I
file,
would
because
tell everybody.
remember, Wakas, they file the case. They don't have to move right away. As
Yeah,
long as it's already in the system, even if Trump cancels it, he can only cancel forward. He cannot cancel backward.
yeah,
So number one lesson, if you qualify, if you want to try it, now is the time to do it.
yeah.
Now, let's talk about the other party. Let's
Okay.
talk about, let's say if Harris Waltz is elected.
Yeah,
If she's elected, I think she's going to keep in line what Biden did, but she's not very startup friendly. So I feel like whatever is here is going to stay, but I don't see too many new initiative coming from her at the moment.
yes.
So it's going to kind of stay like this, but don't expect too many new things like Biden did.
Yeah. I mean, that's fantastic. So, based on Jacob, because based on your experience, any crucial piece of advice you would want to give to Pakistani professionals who are starting their immigration journey today? I know you have given the resume thing, which is a very good advice that they need to prepare. And in fact, I would request maybe you prepare a template. If somebody
Yeah,
from the
absolutely.
office can actually prepare a template, like, this is an ideal resume that we require, and that we can float, like, if anybody is interested and asks questions, like
Absolutely. I
whether
can
they
send it
want
to you and
to.
we can do something like that.
Yeah, so that would be fantastic. But any other advice, like, as you said, that they need to prepare if somebody is new, coming fresh out of university, what do they do? But anybody who is experienced right
I'll
now,
tell you.
how do they go about it?
So anybody that has experience, what I think they should do is that they should start looking and see what are the events, what are the things that are outside of Pakistan that they can apply, even if it's online. Let's say it's an online conference. Let's say it's some kind of a so just to make their experience a little bit more diverse, and also they need to look at their connections and start making connections with past coworkers, past people they worked that they haven't talked to for a while because they might need them soon. So it's nice to start developing this relationship, because imagine they start working with me and I say, hey, I need you to contact these 5 people. They haven't talked to them for 7 years. Now is the time to start building a relationship. Go on LinkedIn, refresh your old contacts, build that network because I'm going to need it, right? and
Absolutely.
um and so that is the because that's the biggest problem I see, Wakas. When I ask people to do this, they are they're delaying it because they are it's hard for them to get those connections. So if you see this video, go back to your LinkedIn and start reaching out to these people, because that's the one number one. I need those references. I need 5 references, and they have to be good ones.
I think
Nobody's
that
going to give you a reference,
I was asked to do,
right?
and because of my, in fact, role is about networking, so it was very easy for me to
For
get,
you it
like,
was easy, of course. Yeah,
yeah, I got more than five, in fact, letter of recommendations,
yeah,
thanks to my friends as well, who were always willing to do that. But I think
absolutely.
this is very important tip. So
I'm telling
before
you
we
because
wrap up,
people tell me I haven't talked to these people for 7 years, and I said, I know now. Do it now. So
yeah,
if you're watching this, please, if you want to move to the United States, that's the best tip I can give you. Start connecting with people from the past.
absolutely. Before we wrap up, are there any particular questions? I mean, from our audience. So I'm just, like,
Sure.
asking people if
And
they
also,
ask.
Wakas, I wanted to tell you something. If you can type in, I'm gonna send you a
Give me your
link
contact details. Yeah.
that I
Or
wanted to give the. Let me see. How can I send you a message? Oh, here we go.
send it to me
I'm
on
gonna send
WhatsApp,
you.
and I will
No, no,
receive
I'm
it over.
sending you. I'm sending you in the chat, private chat.
Yeah.
If you can put this link on the screen, this is specifically for people if they want to contact. It's a contact form, immigrationasap.com, and
Yeah.
we'll monitor this link. Anybody who wants to connect after the show, they must mention the LinkedIn Live, because this link I'm using it also for our direct contact.
So we'll have
Exactly.
the link over there
Yeah,
now.
just leave
Okay.
it on the screen. Anybody who was on the live, please say we went on the live on LinkedIn with Wakas. Please, we want information or whatever you want, and we'll give you priority. I'll
Guys
make
are
sure.
already amazing. Like, I mean, I have sent so many people to you, and you take
Oh,
very good
you've been
care of them.
oversending, yeah. But we'll
Amazing.
make sure that we do that.
Please ask me, can we ask some questions? Of course you can.
Of
And
course,
I
yeah,
will
yeah.
be
We can
like,
ask some questions. Yeah.
there is one message which came to me on text. Hi, Vikas. I think your question was if someone is here on non-immigrant visa, for example, B1, B2, then how can they be maintained? No, this is a different comment. One second, I will just find out. There was a comment on LinkedIn. Just give me a second. I'm refreshing it. So I think one person is asking about contact. We have put the link over there, so that link is already there, so we can take care of
Yeah.
that thing. Uh, I think that's pretty much it. Anything else you would like to add here, Jacob? Anything that you think we should
No, like I
cover?
said, I think anybody who is watching this and they are serious about even trying, because like I said, the NIW is not, it's not going to take, it's going to take at least 18 months. You can do it from Pakistan. You don't have to be in the US. Even if you don't have a tourist visa, you can do this. You can do it from anywhere, I think
Yeah.
it's a good opportunity to help people. You don't need investment. You don't need a job offer. This is one of those benefits that there's no other country that has that program, and that's why it's so powerful and so many people are interested in doing this.
Right. So, Jacob, I want to thank you very much for sharing your expertise
Thank
with
you,
us
Bakas.
today.
Appreciate it.
And I'm sure everybody who will listen to this and has already listened to this will find it very beneficial and might pave a way for them to change their future careers. So that's really amazing. I think there's one question we just do that. It's do we still need to go through the USA lottery system for NIW? I don't think, but you can answer the question.
No, no, no. The lottery, the green card lottery is totally different. Anybody can do it. It doesn't impact anything that you do, so you can
Amazing,
still do it.
Jacob. So, yeah, thank you
All
so
right.
much and
Thanks,
lovely
Bakas.
talking
We'll be
to
in
you.
touch. Appreciate it.
Yes, thank you so much, Jacob. Bye bye.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Have
Bye.
a good day.